In this lesson, we will learn how to work with editable motion trails. Now, if you've been with Maya for a while, you might remember when motion trails were never editable, but they were always helpful because it was a great way to check our arcs to make sure they're nice and polished. If our arcs are weak, then we will notice that in the animation. That's why it's one of those principles of animation. We want to make sure we get down just right because it will help to transform our work. So what we want to do in this scene is just check the arcs and the character's center of gravity. Just want to make sure that they look nice and polished. If I were to hit play in this scene, we could see Rexy kind of hopping around. And this is actually from our Quick Start to Rigging Volume 5 course where we learn about geocaching. So if you'd like to learn more about that, feel free to take a look at those tutorials. But what I'll now do is just go ahead and show the creature's control objects. We'll go to the Show menu, show Nerves Curves, and we'll go ahead and grab his center of gravity control. Alright, so with that selected, we can now head over to Animate, Create Editable Motion Trail, go to the options, and I'll reset the settings so yours match mine. Alright, so at the top we can set our range. Let's go ahead and work with the time slider so we can view the entire animation. And then we can choose how many frames we view within this range using increment. Let's go ahead and work with 1 so we're viewing every frame just to be on the safe side. And then next we can choose what frames we view before our current time and after our current time using pre and post frames. We can access these settings, by the way, from our channel box and attribute editor, so we'll take a look. We can choose pinning to always draw the trail or draw when selected, and then we can choose the thickness we'd like for our trail and key size as well. And then if we'd like to view the frame numbers on each key, we can go ahead and turn that on from here. So we'll take a look at that from the channel box. Let's go ahead and now choose Create Motion Trail. If you ever run into this error, by the way, it's really nothing to be concerned with. Let's go ahead and take a look at our script editor, just letting us know that our keyframe size is getting greater than a value of 20. Again, really nothing to be concerned with. Now, what we do want to concern ourselves with, again, are the arcs in this animation. So you can see we have some really nice looking arcs here, but at the beginning, this can definitely be more polished. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at how we could start to edit this motion trail right here in the viewport. It's like an interactive function curve. So we can go in and grab a key. That's what this white dot is, and all of these white dots we see along the trail. When we grab our move tool, we can start to move this key around. And let's take a look at something else. I'll open up the graph editor. Let's go to our perspective and graph layout. And we'll just focus on translation. Since we're only modifying translation with our motion trail tool, of course. But watch this. As we start to move this key around, it'll start to update our function curves. So that's actually what's happening in the background. So I don't quite like where this key is at. I might move it forward a bit. And right now I'm using the local mode on the move tool. If I were to hold down the W key and the left mouse button, we can go to Axis, Local, so we can move locally according to the tangency of this keyframe. Now, speaking of tangency, can we actually go in and modify our tangents? Well, we most certainly can. We could either go to Show in Out Tangents from the channel box, or if we were to press Control A to move over to our attribute editor, we can turn that on from here. So here's Show In Tangent, here's Show Out Tangent. And now watch, we can go ahead and highlight the tangent handle and we can start to pull that. And now we're able to affect our weighting right here. And we don't even need weighted tangents for that. Now, we do need weighted tangents to work with beads. So instead of working with tangents here, we can go ahead and work with beads. You'll notice that once we turn this on, we cannot work with the tangent option here. But watch, we could actually go ahead and grab, let's say, our Translate Y channel right here in the graph editor. We can right click and choose weighted tangents, and now we can start working with beads. Now, if we're working with in beads, we can't work with out beads and vice versa. But honestly, when we adjust one side, we can simply go ahead and grab that bead and start to pull it. We don't need to work with any of our transform tools. It'll just work. You see that when we start to adjust this, it actually adjusts the opposite side too, and you can see how it starts to change our function curve as well. Alright, sweet. So that's what these options do. Let's go ahead and press Control A to move back to our channel box. What if we wanted to view our frames for each key? Well, we can go ahead and turn on show frames. I'll go ahead and put in the value 1 or type in on, and there we have it. So right now we're modifying frame 10. All right, sweet. Now what if we wanted to go in and add a keyframe? Well, we can do so easily by using modify keys. So let's say we go ahead and add a key on about frame 2. So what we'll do is head over to modify keys, and I'll turn that on. And now we'll go ahead and click right there in between 1 and 3, and now we've instantly created a key right here on frame 2. All right, fantastic. And there's where that key is if we were to take a look at our function curve. Now, what I'll do is go ahead and turn this off, because if we don't, we'll keep creating keys. So let's make sure we turn that off. And now we can start to modify this to adjust the position of our creature. So if we go to frame 2, we can start to pull at that key to maybe lower him a bit. And there we have it. Awesome. So that's how we can start to work with these motion trails to fix our animations right here in the viewport. That doesn't mean we don't have to focus on our function curves any longer. We should actually keep both views open so we can just make sure that things look nice, looking at both the motion trail and the actual animation from the graph editor. I might go ahead and take this key on 14 and start pulling that forward. All right, I won't spend too much time here. It's easy to do that because this is a very fun tool. And again, this can really start to transform your work. If you're working on an arm swing and you notice that, hey, it's missing the arc I need, well, let's go ahead and work with motion trails so that we could start to get those arcs back. Now, let me go ahead and show you this. If you wanted to, you can go ahead and turn off X-ray mode. And now we're not able to view the motion trail through the mesh. I'll go ahead and turn that back on because I kind of like X-ray mode. Also, let's go ahead and take a look at pre-frame. So if we were to go ahead and start increasing that, it's going to remove the motion trail at the beginning according to our current time. If I were to undo that back and go to post frame, you can see as we start to increase that, now we're not able to see the rest of the motion trail after our current time. So that's basically how that works. I'll just go ahead and set that back to 0. All right, sweet. So we've learned how to work with motion trails. Now, how can we remove the motion trail? Once we're finished with it, all we need to do is go ahead and highlight the trail and simply hit the delete key, and now it's gone. All right, wonderful. So in this lesson, we've learned a very fast way to check for and polish arcs in Maya using editable motion trails.